It's Sunday. It's January 7th, 2024. I attended, today's Sunday, so I attended church today via Zoom. For some reason, the last Sunday and the Sunday before, I went to on the internet through Apple and the Verizon, and for some reason the chat room receiving me would not allow me in for whatever reason. This is at the Zion Episcopal. May be different. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny than the St. John's Episcopal, where I had St. John's Day 1988, and I got the pin that I've made document of with the cufflink on special childhood, special group of whatever. I'm still in the same monetary system from that childhood, with the pyramid, the bird, the one General George Washington. So I was able to get into church today, and this time it's through Zion. I do have to make a caveat of concern that while I never heard of Three Kings in my youth, this area of New York in the year 2024, speaking of Three Kings, again, there's so much that was not covered in the series of rooms of education that I had access to in New York during this life frame, before Alexander and after Alexander arrived. So, and again, this morning I put on if there are these theories of or ways of having a conversation, because if California and the Ring of Fire, like there's that Western theory of a possibility that someone speaks as Western Interior Seaway. So Pacific's on one side of the theater, Atlantic is on the other side of the theater. Again, in certain households, this seems important. Smithsonian is the channel that brought forth the possibility that these slides exist in a conversation somewhere. So I've made document of it and mention of it, since it's in this time frame of where there's some stuff that I'm really concerned with. Smithsonian also just alerted me today, but I think it taped yesterday. I was watching the Iowa. There's a big lot of stuff going on in Iowa that makes no sense to me whatsoever. On this side of like Appalachia, I suppose, if they're like Great Plains area. I don't really know where the puzzle pieces lay on that. Again, Laurentide, I don't want to get upset or rile up. Like if there was a 5 Great Lakes and there was the Great Plains and I'm in Appalachia, how does one just raise or document concerns? So anyhow, so this new Episcopal church, that the Zion one, not the St. John's 1988, because again, I want to keep separation of church and state for decades of what is going on with no communications whatsoever, or very little communications, like pop-ins or like scouts. I don't really know what they are, but they seem important when they arrive. And then they just disappear, just like in a gigantic ocean, and you're just whatever and whatever, whatever, whatever. So, Iowa in aerial America puts forth this very interesting piece that I had never heard of. I mean, I've heard of Louisiana Purchase, like way in the recesses of my memory from elementary or from somewhere in the holodeck, um, in space and time, not really clear where, or when it was recited. Again, there's been times where I'm in a meeting and then all of a sudden there's a blackout. And so that's whatever and whatever. More recently, in a meeting where Torres was, I got stung by what I said was a bee, and then out I went. Um, so, although I think it was a long active, because I got up and moved around for a while, but then all of a sudden the room started spinning and out I went. Um, so anyhow, I am this Iowa thing with the Louisiana Purchase. It says it was French, then it says something with Spanish. Again, I'm on the Atlantic side of the geography on this. I don't know what's going on in the Great Plains. Again, the communication over here and whatever. But what I did notice was they have this thing, this trans meditational whatever. They mention it's Lebanon and Syria. In I don't is that a farmer's tan out there? I mean, is that an acceptable? I don't know. In the state of New York, I am having some issues. They say something about Fairfield in Iowa. Um, Again, I have history in Iowa through a zip code, but they moved. They sold the farm and they moved. So I don't know what's going on with that. Um, and then there's this. Um, they have this word Fairfield, as but in New York there's some Fairfield rental leasing company that does like big rental market on Long Island. I don't know if that's associated with the same Fairfield and let's just say Cedar Rapids. I have no idea what that's all about. Never even heard of it until Aerial American Smithsonian made mention of it. But again, I'm RH sensitive, so it is really, I'm really careful how I mention these things. What does concern me in New York, however, um, is this there's this, well, let's just put it like my grandmother used to say, like, every door has a handle, use it, um, referring to people's names. So this particular one has a label under or a handle underneath it, which says Rep Alexandria, um, something Cortez. I don't know. I'm going to put it up. It says the Bronx and then it says comma Queens. I have no idea. I don't know. Again, I don't know what door it entered through. I have no idea the labels of other than the handle. So, but it's saying the Bronx. I'm in Queens again, in the Long Island Sound of things. Um, Between greater interior seaway and the Atlantic Ocean. It seems like a crucial fact that it is in some, again, I don't know, with hedge funds, there's crisis at the border going on right now, and then there's what's made landfall in the city and boroughs area. I don't know how it arrived. I don't know is really what it comes down to. So I'm making document because I'm RH sensitive. Um, and again, if I go East Coast theory of colonies, which has been taught in school, I just not in any of the necessarily in any great detail in the rooms I had access to. New England is like a northerner colony. Then there was talks perhaps of a New Amsterdam, and then there's something called the Southern Colonies. Again, theory of a, this is Appalachia speak. So I'm RH sensitive, and I am looking at what they're telling me is news, and there's grave concern because, again, I have a special star. I had special movie theater event with Dancing with Wolves, and then there's special child with special star. So I'm going to put this up for the moment and just make a document of it. Says the again, I believe, I don't know what she identifies as. I think it's a woman. I think she identifies as she, but again, that would be a personal whatever. Um, she Alexandria is uh, mentioning this opening up and examining the books of the city. Um, I am thinking portfolio managers, and I'm thinking of the crucial piece that Long Island has at the mouth of the Long Island Sound, which is important and carefully placed with this America theory of an American breadbasket with two mouths, or two whatever. So I'm real careful because, again, this is historically accurate for the United States of America and the Federal Reserve note. Again, we have on larger bills US Treasury, the White House, and so on and so forth. It's a system. Its integrity is incredibly important to me in EOMEO. Um, so I am just concerned based on this Aerial America acknowledgement of something in Iowa, state of Iowa, uh, where I'm at looking at in state of New York. The flag still remains the same, which is the one that's been repeatedly in my documents of red, white, and blue, red and white stripes with blue stars. Um, that has not changed. I just can't get up right. I'm not able to move as easily between the rooms. Otherwise, I would document the flag. So here we are.
New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says officials need to take a hard look at what Mayor Adams is spending to care for the thousands of asylum seekers. We need to really open the books on New York City's fiscal operation and what we're spending and how we're spending it in terms of not just migrant response, but in general. But so I think there are things we can do better as a city. For more of what Representative Ocasio-Cortez.
I don't know if it's the King's books of the city who runs the state and tax collection at like surf and turf. I mean, like, again, Americans are real big on there's no king, but again, I'm RH sensitive, and there are houses of worship, perhaps is the better word. I don't really know. And on that note, I don't really like what Zion did with their Christmas play this year, where the nativity was set with the wrong figures. I mean, again, it has always been, Jesus has always looked a certain way in this area as it has been presented. So that's just this like really narrow line of why are they trying to repatriotize or like portrait this Jesus, this theory of Jesus, and this whatever. So I'm real careful with that, and noticing that this year, for some reason, I mean, again, it's just, I'm in this facility. I didn't get a say in it. I wasn't asked. It just happened. They took a picture of it. It's now on their website. And it's not representative of anything. Again, I had a problem with a crazy donkey while I was here and a blacksmith. So I am just distancing myself from whatever this act is that's going on inside the New York theater. It is, it's I don't know what it is, and I don't know who's behind it, but I'm going to pause this for a minute, and I'm going to put up the mention from the Iowa Aerial America. Okay, so I'm trying to be a little more careful because this seems to be a critical piece. It says America. It says Aerial America, Iowa. It's season 1 on the broadcast transmission here. Season 1, episode 53. And this is where it makes mention of this Louisiana purchase, and it has the mention of France, and then Spaniard. And again, there's this migrant crisis going on and fight between Texas, and again, and like the theory of all the siblings get along at all the time at 48 brothers and sisters. It's a little confusing to the residents to the north as to why these unexpected movements are going on.
When you soar across Iowa, the American heartland stretches as far as the eye can see. There are perfectly planted rows of crops, towering silos, and old farmhouses. Postcard perfect images of a way of life that can only be found in the good old US of A. But Iowa hasn't always been this red, white, and blue. In 1682, France claimed the land that's now Iowa as part of a vast region the French called Louisiana. But France then lost Louisiana to Spain in 1763. Napoleon took it back in 1800 and then surprised the world by turning around and flipping it to President Thomas Jefferson just 3 years later. By the
Oh,
time of
and
that
there
historic
it
deal,
is in
Iowa had
that
already begun its
really important meeting between Jefferson. So in just like a one-time whatever, poor Jefferson, just so poor Washington doesn't get upset. And whatever. Um, I'm just thinking back to a time where a field trip where I was just so upset. So anyhow, back to like being moved to Queens and being in Sunnyside, not liking the setting or the scenery, nor the people that I entered and exited with, and whatever, and a picture that verbally I was not happy about painting, that when they painted it verbally, I was not agreeing to it. Um, it sounded just like a waste of time, effort, and life. Um, but whatever. And then it just dissolved in memory. It is just. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And as far as technology goes, while I was on the Zoom meeting this morning with the Zion Church, Episcopal Church in New York, a local, Douglaston, it was the background. I had there's some filter background. Looks like the planet, but from outside orbit or NEO, near orbit, near Earth orbit perspective. Um, and I was watching, the background kept fading in and out. And again, perfection being whatever it is in certain places, it just seems significant that it was unable to hold a steady stream of filter as the transmission was going. Anyhow, so and this part of what's going on in Iowa is the only, like, and I'm getting this in the year 2024. Doesn't say anything necessarily past that this Louisiana purchase and who was involved. That's really all it makes mention of.